Greetings, my brothers and sisters. My selected text for this semester is Joshua chapter 1. Allow me to look at Joshua chapter 1 through 9. From these selected verses, three things that I will lift. Number one, the vocation that was assigned, the voice of assurance, and finally, the victory assured. The vocation assigned is found in verse 1 and 2. The voice of assurance is found in verse 3 through 4. And the victory assured is found in verse 5 through 9. The backdrop of this passage is God has now chosen Joshua to lead the children of Israel. My brothers and sisters, the first verse says something that is important to us. For it says, now after the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord, it came to pass that the Lord spake unto Joshua. He reminds him again, Moses, my servant, is dead. Here is the vocation that was assigned. Now, therefore, arise, go over this Jordan, thou and all this people, unto the land which I do give them, even the children of Israel. He was told that you are now my new leader. I understand, my brothers and sisters, something that could be going through the mind of Joshua as he recognizes and realizes that he is not just following anybody. He is following Moses. Moses had led the children of Israel for the last 40 years. He is now off the scene. This man Joshua, who was a slave, who was a spy, who was a student, he is now the successor. He is called of God. He is challenged by God. He is commissioned by God to lead the children of Israel. And God tells him something that is so profound, something that is so positive. He says that everywhere your feet shall trod, he said, I've already given it to you. My brothers and sisters, it's good to be called by God, but it's also good to be accompanied by God. My brothers and sisters, you know that when you're in leadership can be discouraging. Leadership can be depressing. Leadership can be draining, but it's good to know that we serve a God that will give us encouragement when we need it the most. I suggest that every leader needs encouragement, but it's a sad commentary that most leaders don't receive encouragement, but they receive discouragement. In my own life, I've taken on the Davidic mentality. When I can't find encouragement from nowhere, I've learned how to encourage my own self. Not only, my brothers, do we see that Joshua was called by God, and this symbolizes the vocation that was assigned, but then verse 3 and 4 gives us the voice of assurance. God tells Joshua, here's what I want you to know. Here's what I want you to remember. Here's what I want you to focus on. He says, from the wilderness and this Lebanon, even to the great river, the river of Euphrates, to the land of the Hittites, unto the sea, towards the going down of the sun, shall be your coast. But here is the voice of assurance. He said, there shall not be any man able to stand before thee all the days of your life. Here it is again. As I was with Moses, he said, rest in the fact that the same way I was with Moses, I am with you. This is what Dr. Martin Luther King calls cosmic companionship, that God reminds his servants, his leaders. He said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. This particular verse is quoted in Hebrews chapter 13. He reminds us centuries later that I will never leave you. Not only do I see the vocation that was assigned, not only do I see the voice of assurance, but finally I see the victory assured in verse 5 through 9. Here again, he says, no man will be able to stand before thee all the days of your life. As I was with Moses, so will I be with you. But he tells them, I need you to do one thing for me. Be strong and be courageous. Be strong and be courageous. He says again, be strong and be courageous. My brothers and sisters, whenever we hear God repeating himself, it means we need to pay close attention to what he is saying. In his instruction, he gives a positive statement and a negative one. He first tells Joshua to be strong and be of good courage. Then he tells him, do not be afraid or dismayed. What is he saying? He's saying to Joshua was to accentuate the positive and eliminate the negative. My brothers and sisters, in leadership, you have to be strong. You can't bend your belief. You can't compromise your conviction. You can't shift your standards. You have to be strong. He told Joshua, cross over, inherit the land, be strong and courageous, meditate and observe the word of God. My brothers and sisters, I want to tell somebody that whenever you stay in compliance with the word of God, whenever you stay within the will of God, God will always make a way for you. He says, be strong. The word strong refers to having sound legs, while the word for courage means to have a secure grasp. So what was he telling Joshua? He said, in order to be a successful leader, you have to have the ability to stand strong and the ability to hold tight. My brothers and sisters, you will face opposition, you will face obstacles, but the good thing about it, God says, I will never leave you nor forsake you. Who am I talking to today? I know sometimes you feel like giving up, you feel like throwing in the towel, you feel like waving the white flag, but I want to tell you, please, my brother, please, my sister, be encouraged. Let me close by telling you that the promises of God should keep you comfortable. The peace of God should keep you calm. The power of God should give you courage. The praise of God should be your conversation, and the presence of God will keep you company. Who am I talking to? My brother and my sister, hang on in there. Fight on. Be encouraged. Because the same words that God gives to Joshua, he told me to give to you. Be strong, be courageous, and know one thing. I'll never leave you nor forsake you. Joshua chapter 1 reminds us to be encouraged. God bless you, and may he forever keep you.